Hey everyone, it's Craig with Single Length School. We're back today with part 2 of our single plane swing process. Trying to learn the single plane swing, figure some things out. So what do you say? Let's get rolling. Alright guys, so we are back talking part 2 of single plane swing. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button down below, hit the notifications bell so you know when we have a new video that comes out. Don't forget, follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Single Length School or on Twitter at One Length School. So let's talk a little bit more about the single plane swing that a lot of you guys have asked for. So as I talked about in the last video, you guys know that I had picked up the book by Todd Graves talking about the Mo Norman single plane swing. Took it out, did a little bit of work with it, and it wasn't perfect, but I found some things in there that, you know, could definitely help and benefit, and I had a lot of great feedback, some great comments from that video. So one of the comments was, you know, to kind of create maybe a bit of a hybrid swing, because it's hard in the middle of a season to go and completely change your swing. Not that I'm really completely changing it, because I have bits and pieces of a single plane idea in my normal swing anyway. But I also had a lot of comments to check out a guy by the name of Kirk Junge. He has a YouTube channel focusing, I think it's called Setup for Impact. Kirk used to work with Todd Graves teaching Mo Norman, and actually developed kind of his own version of the single plane swing, which is more of a hybrid swing, where, you know, you do get some bend in your knees. You have a little bit of a bend in your arm, something more hybrid that kind of feels more like a traditional swing, but the idea is still to get onto that single plane and get on that one plane when you're swinging. So because it's mid-season and I was struggling a little bit with picking up, or I don't want to say struggling, but you know, it's hard to completely go from one thing to another. So what we're going to take a look at today is maybe a modified single plane that Kirk Junge talks about. So we're going to hit some balls on the range, then I'm going to take you, we'll go play 3 holes, 16, 17, and 18 here at the home course, and we'll see how it works for us. So let's hit some balls on the range, warm up, and see what we've got. And I'll talk you through some of the setups that Kirk talks about. All right, so here on the range, let's talk a little bit about the setup and some of the quick philosophies that Kirk talks about in his Setup for Impact single plane swing setup. Along the same lines of the Mo Norman swing, when you're starting out, you do want that front arm straight. But one of the differences is when you bring in that back arm, you want your forearm to stay on that same plane, but you can actually bend that elbow a little bit, which is going to give you a little bit of a shoulder dip. He also talks about the stance being a little bit wider, you know, somewhere a little bit past the hips, but not much. And then ball placement for your driver, a lot of that's the same. And Kirk does have a little bit of some bend in his knees. So, you know, but same idea, same principles, same philosophy. You know, once you're set up, you take it back, and you're trying to come through on the same plane. So you're trying to keep from here through here. So the idea with single plane, whether it's Mo Norman or Kirk's vision, is the same thing. You take the club back on one path, and it's coming through on that same path. There's no deviation up here where the club comes up or the club comes down. So let's hit a couple. I'm going to hit a couple drivers. We'll see how they go. I'm going to try a couple irons with Kirk's method, and then we'll go put it all into play. I'll play 3 holes completely in Kirk's method to the best of my abilities, to what I can for trying this for the first time. All right, not so great first one. Contact was good, just it's early, I'm tight. That was the first swing of the day, big old slice. So what we're going to do, and one of the things Kirk does talk about, is actually going to a little bit stronger grip if you've already have one, because if it goes left, we can always adjust for that. So I'm going to make a little bit stronger of a grip, widen my stance a little bit. A little bit better, still a little bit of a slice on it. We'll see if we can't straighten that out here real quick. A lot straighter. And guys, with this, one of the things they do mention is trying to keep that weight 50-50 over both feet. So, you know, a lot of times we talk about kind of putting some weight back on the back foot. In the single plane swings, they want you to have the weight 50-50. That was by far the best one so far. Let's run through a few more. All right, so that's the driver. The last few there were pretty straight, actually. I made some quick adjustments, got a little bit taller on the ball as opposed to a little bit lower, and that definitely seemed to help straighten out that club face a little bit. But let's switch over and look at some irons. All right, so I got my 7-iron here. Now let's talk about Kirk's iron method. So with his irons, again, the feet are a little bit wider than the hips. You're taking that same grip, a little bit of bend in the knees, you bend over to the ball. But what his difference is he wants you to shift those hips forward, which kind of gets that weight on that front foot. And then ball position for his irons is all kind of in front of the middle of your stance. So for me, typically, I'm back here in my normal swing where it's back, because all my irons are 8-iron length. I'm usually back inside my back foot a little bit. He wants it up here. So let's give it a shot and see how these go. So that first one there was a little toey. I mean, it was straight, but it was a little off the toe. So I'm going to try and move into the ball a little bit more and see if I can't get it more in the center of that face. So that one was definitely more center of the face. I'm gonna keep working on this, hit a few more shots, let you guys see a few more, and then we're gonna take it out onto the course and play 3 holes, see what we can do. All right, gang, well, 16 and 17 were bunched up when I came out to the course, so I figured I got a little bit of breathing room. The group behind me is teeing off on 17, so I am actually going to play 18. We'll play 18 the whole way down using the single plane method as best as we can, as I said, because I'm still new to it, still trying to figure it out. So we'll play 18. It's a shorter par 5. Should be able to birdie this. If not, should be an easy par, so let's see what we can do. All right, guys, missed the fairway, not by much. It's about 6 yards. Hit it dead straight, hit it exactly where I was aimed. Didn't take the time to really line it up, but the ball didn't move offline. I've got 165 to the pin. The pin's in the back, so I want to be a little short. I'm gonna play it to about 160, which is a 9-iron for me. So we're gonna set it up, see if we can't get it on this par 5 in 2 and give ourselves a look at an eagle. All right, guys, let's have a little quick chat about that hole. Played the 18th, the shorter par 5. Good drive, it was straight. My second shot, 9-iron from 165. It was actually pin high, but I went to the right a little bit. I was on an uphill slope, so I was thinking it would come left, and it actually didn't. It stayed straight. But, you know, I finished up with a chip and a 2-putt for par, which I'm happy with, especially being the first time I'm trying to implement this style of single plane, the Kirk Junge style of single plane swing into my game. So based off of my findings between the driving range and playing the 18th here, I think it's probably a little bit easier to start out with the Kirk Junge method because it's more of a hybrid method single plane swing than the Mo Norman. I think if you can get into the Kirk Junge method, learn that, and then I think it's an easier transition to the Mo Norman method from there. In terms of distance-wise, I noticed a little bit of gain, I believe, for the simple fact that using this method, I'm hitting the ball more square in the center of the club face. So even my drive here on 18, I thought it was high, but it still rolled out and carried 285, 290, which is a really good drive considering I thought I sent a rocket into space. The 9-iron itself, the 9-iron's my 160 club, so for it to finish pin high at 165, yeah, it had a little bit of a bounce, but I still think I caught it cleaner and got more distance out of it. I also noticed it over on the driving range with my irons, that I was getting a little bit more distance. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep working on it. I'm gonna keep working on it here over the next week, and we're gonna come out and do a little bit more next week. We'll hopefully be able to play 3 holes, get all those into the system, and show you guys how it works and how my game's changed, see if I feel like there's a true improvement where it's worth going to the single plane swing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Single Length School, over on Twitter at One Length School, and don't forget, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the notifications bell beside it so you know when we release a new video. And that's it for this week, guys. Keep it in the fairways, and I'll see you next time.